It's on.
Okay. First thing I want to do is I want to read a little riddle, or rhyme we could call it. Raise your hand if you've heard of the cat and the fiddle. Almost everyone. So it's, hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such a sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon. Tell me what you notice about this little rhyme. Jocelyn.
It rhymes?
It rhymes, of course it rhymes. Jamie?
All the stuff that happens in that riddle can't actually happen.
Okay, he says it can't actually happen. Can you expand on that, Sam?
It's fiction.
Fiction. That has to go with it can't happen. What about specifically about the characters in it? Tynell?
That a dish can't run out of spoon.
Okay. We're kind of... Jaden, one more try.
That it's not one of the animals and spoons and stuff can't do stuff like jumping and
Exactly. We have objects and we have animals doing human-like things. Those are things that we can do. We can run away and laugh and maybe not jump over the moon, but we can jump, right? Kason?
that's great. It uses personification.
Oh my goodness! She already knew what it was called. Alright, well that's going to take... We're not going to have to guess now what it's called because Kason told us it's personification. But that was good. Have you heard of that in another class? Or you just knew? Oh, so you remember what Mrs. Sugar taught you. Good. She said she wanted me to review it. She said you might have an idea. Some of you might know, but that's why we're going to go over it and we're going to look at it in different types of writing. So can I have one of the lights off so we're able to see this? Okay. This is asking, what is this poem describing? Tall and blue, true and open, so open my arms have room for all the world, for sun and moon, for bird and stars. Yet how I wish I had the chance to come drifting down to earth, a simple bedsheet covering some little girl or boy just for a night. What is this poem describing, do you think? Priya, do you need to go? Priya, what? What do you think this poem is describing, Chad? He thinks the sky. Anyone think anything different? Gannon? Thinks a bed. Jocelyn?
I think maybe not all the way upside, but really close to it.
Okay. One last guess. Liam?
A star?
A star. Let's see. The sky.
I knew.
And I covered this right here. This is the last part of the poem because it says, but I'm the sky, that's why. Because I didn't want to give it away. So, can a sky have its arms open?
No.
See anything else that a sky couldn't do, Jocelyn? Anything? Let's see if Sam knows. He's waving his hand at me.
The sky can't open its arms.
We just said that one. Naima, did you see another one?
Tall and blue. No, it is.
It is blue. I guess you could describe it as tall. What is it? Jaden?
No, it can't cover a little girl or baby.
Okay. And then one other thing that I noticed is wishing. Can the sky wish?
No.
Can we wish?
Yes.
So everyone, what is this called? Kason told us.
Personification.
Personification. All right. So I think we already just answered this question. What's it called? The actual definition is when we give human-like characteristics to an object or to an animal. Or the sky is a different kind. It's not an object or an animal, but can give human-like characteristics to really a lot of things. So I I just put some pictures on here, like the phone is saying I love you. Have you ever seen the movie Cars?
Yes.
And then this I thought was funny because I just read that. It was Cat and Fiddle. And then Toy Story. You've seen Toy Story. Okay. So all of these are using some type of personification. These are just some examples of sentences that you were, if you were reading and you came across one of these sentences are using personification. First one is the sun peeked happily from behind a cloud. Yes, a sun can be behind a cloud, but would we describe it as peeking? That's something that we would do, right? And the trees dance back and forth in the wind. Trees dance.
No.
We do that, exactly. I'm going to tell you a really easy way to remember what personification is. So I'm hoping that this sticks in your head. So we have a bear here with his arms open like he wants something. We have a tree, like his arms open like he wants something. So personification is really, I want somebody to give me a definition. We just saw it and we talked about it, but I need a good definition. Aiden.
Personification is when something is trying to act human.
Human. And what's another name for a human? Chad? A person. So I think it's really simple to remember personification because the word person is in it. So what I'm going to do, hopefully this works for me, is take the word person and give it to the bear. So now he could do things like a person could. I'm going to take the word person out of the word personification and give it to the tree. Can we come up with an example of personification for the bear now that he has the person characteristic? No one can think of one? Only two of us? Adriana? I need a sentence. But can a bear walk? You need to think of something that a bear really couldn't do. Go ahead.
The bear ate with a
The bear ate with a knife and a fork. Okay. Another one for the bear. Jamie?
The bear talked very loud.
The bear talked very loud because the bear can't talk. Okay. What about for the tree? Jason? The tree danced the tango. That's using personification. One more for the tree. Jaden? What could a tree not do that we could do that you could say?
The tree said hi.
The tree said hi. Okay, one more. Sam. The tree got a haircut. I like that one because you could think of these, of its branches and its leaves as its hair, and it got a haircut. I wouldn't even have thought of that one. That was a good one. Okay, so to practice personification, you're not always just going to get a sentence and know that it's personification. We need to be able to pick a sentence, Danny, out of a whole passage. So, like on our PSSAs, we might have a passage and we might get a question that says, pick out the sentence from the passage that uses personification. So it's not going to tell us that a certain sentence has it. We're going to have to look at a whole passage and pick one sentence out. Okay? So what I want you to do is when I'm reading through this, try your best not to look around the room. I want to see what you know. So if I see you going like this and looking at your neighbor, I'm thinking you're probably just doing what they're doing. But I want you to pat your head when you hear an example of personification. So let's practice patting our head. So when I say a sentence, are you practicing, Frankie? When I see a sentence that's using personification, when you hear it, I want you to pat your head. Okay? Everyone understand?
Mm-hmm.
All right. The old man opened the door and stared into the dark woods beyond his house. Careful. Think of what's real and what's not real. The trees whispered to each other in the darkness. Frankie, can trees whisper?
No.
So what should you be doing? Okay. he saw bats flying around in the sky. The bats screamed at each other as if they were fighting. The old man did not like the dark and decided to go back inside. As he stepped back into the house, the door decided to close itself. The old man screamed because he got scared. From inside the house, the old man could still hear the night's creatures whispering to each other. Good. So I think we're doing a pretty good job of, okay, we can stop patting our heads now. Passage is over. I saw most of you patting your head at the correct spots because we saw when we read through, the old man opened the door. That is something an old man can do, a person can do. But can creatures whisper to each other? Like animals outside? No. Jocelyn? But can a door decide to close itself? Because doors can't make decisions, right?
No.
I can see how that one could be tricky. I was thinking about that too because the wind could have closed it, but it doesn't say that. It says that it decided to do it itself. Okay. You have a piece of paper, and now that we already know what personification is, you can turn your piece of paper over. I had it like that so you wouldn't see that it said finding personification. Because then if I would have been introducing this, you would have all known what it was, so I wanted you to guess. You should also have a piece of paper flipped over on your desk. You may now flip it over. Each of the passages, Frankie, has a number on them. Just like on your worksheet, passage 1, 2, and 3 on the front, then there's 4, 5, and 6 in the back. What we're going to do is we're going to work these passages around your table. Okay, so you're going to have a little bit of time. For example, Chad has number 5. Okay, so he's going to turn his paper around to the back because that's where passage 5 is. And he's going to read this, and he's going to look for examples of personification. When he finds these examples, which on most of them there's only 1 or 2, so you really only need to write 1 or 2 down. Ariel and Jamie, are you paying attention? So if I would read this, now we're Chad, I would say, oh, this is personification, I'm going to write it on the lines. And I think some of them are longer than the others. Some of them only have a few sentences, so it might be quicker for you. But we're going to make it so you have about, we'll see how it goes, but I think I'm going to give you about a minute to read over it and write down quick. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to know that you're able to find the personification. And then when I say switch, kind of like we do in science centers, you're going to pass it to the next person. I'm thinking we're going to go clockwise. So everyone decide where you're going. Point your finger to where the paper's going to go next if we're going clockwise. I think we might have some confusion with this. I'm going to say this table, we're going to give it to the person like this. Watch. See what you're going to do? This table, we're going to do the same thing. Casey's going to give it to Darsh. Darsh is going to go like this. Hopefully, after the first time of passing around, it'll become easier. This table will go around this way. Yes. Yes, that's a good point. Look up front. This passage has it circled, and there's another one like this too. I believe it's number 6. Okay.
Just follow us here.
So, if it's circled, you think you're going to read what's up here? No, you're just going to read what's circled and choose personification from the part that's circled, okay? And for some of you, you don't have your full partner, so you're just going to have to try to work around. You can leave this one sit here and pretend that Jaiseer's doing it, and then you can help him by passing it to him, okay? So that might be a little tricky because we have some missing, but let's do our best to get it around and make sure that we've had each one. And then we're going to go over it, okay? So remember, you have about a minute or so to do each one. Okay, ready? And you can start. gotta take your paper.
Well, that won't help.
Yes.
Okay, read the full sentences that are on it, and you'll still be able to find some.
Some of the pages were hard to copy, but there's still full sentences that have examples in them.
Find the example or examples, only one or two.
Oh, go ahead. Switch. I just noticed we're going this way. So you would give your paper to Darwin. Pretend that Destiny's here. So pass the paper there. What's the problem? There we go. All we're doing is passing it to the person next to you. You're not passing this paper. You're passing your articles with your passages on them. Better get working because you only have about 30 more seconds. Okay, if you need a couple more seconds for that one, finish up and wait. Give you about 10 more seconds. Don't switch if your partner's not ready. Okay, and switch. Try your best to get as much done as you can in that minute. That's not the timer. If you have enough time to write 3, you can. Because there might be 3. Fifteen more seconds to finish that one up. And we'll switch. Go ahead and switch. seconds for this one. Got 40 more seconds, and this should be our last one, so you should have all of them filled out. About 10 more seconds. Alright, stop. We don't need to switch them now because we got through all of them. You can just keep that paper on your desk. We'll just collect them when we're done. Right now we're going to look over our finding personification worksheet. I have it up here on the overhead. Everyone did get the chance to get through all of them, right? No. Did the rest of your group get through them? Alright, so maybe we just passed them wrong or something because you had the imaginary Jyceir there. But make sure you're paying attention when we go over the one that you didn't do. Okay, what I want you to see is that I have the actual passages here. Those are copies that I made. Did anyone see that Standing All Alone looked familiar to them? Raise your hand if that looked familiar to you. I believe Mrs. Sugar said you should have read this because it was in your foresights. Okay?
That was the first one.
So this one was your first one. It was a little longer ago. Anyone remember it though? Two of you do. Okay. So what we had to do is we had to look at the last two paragraphs on that one. What did we find? Passage 1, personification. You don't have to have the article in front of you. You just have to have your papers. You wrote it down. Okay, now.
Winter's cold breath fills the air.
Winter's cold breath. Because can winter have cold breath? It is cold, but when we say that it has cold breath, that's kind of like a person trait, right?
Okay.
So winter's cold breath. Did we find any other for passage 1?
I'm gonna check with everyone. Okay.
Janet.
That's so shocking.
I'm gonna wonder about that one because if they can. It's not saying that they're actually doing that.
Yeah.
I do see another one though. Aiden? Scarecrows only, because is a scarecrow something that's living? Yeah, so can we really say that a scarecrow is lonely? No. Yeah, birds may think that a scarecrow, oh, of course you know. Scarecrow is lonely. Okay. To get through all of them, there may be more than 2, but we're just going to go through 2 or 1 for each one. The next one was out of the book Harold and the Purple Crayon. Who has read Harold and the Purple Crayon? Okay. So, what did we find for personification in this story? Jasmine?
And the man went with him.
And the who?
Moon.
Oh, I thought you said man, and the man went with him. Because a man could go with someone because the moon. So the moon went with him. that the only one we found? Jaden, did you find another one? Hands raised. For number 2, passage 2. Shortcut across the field. Is that an example of personification? I would say no. I would say there's only one on these 2 pages. There may be more in the book, but from just these 2 pages, I found one example. The next one was from Gilberto and the Wind. So I copied that right from here. What did we find for personification? I should see more hands because we all did this and we should all have something written down. Curtis. The wind comes along. Because can the wind come along? No. So we'll say the wind comes along. Anyone find anything else on there? Jocelyn? He blows the dirt in my face. That's another good example. Okay. We're only going over 2 though, remember? Alright, on to the back. Passage number 4 was from a book called The Little House. What did we find from The Little House? Fama. Apple trees are dancing. Wouldn't that be silly though? But I don't think they could actually do that. Did we find any others? Jason, can you put your chair down and then tell me, please? Exactly. And can you read that exact sentence again? Or what did you write down? Bought the little house. So that was part of the sentence, but can a house sing? Can a house sing?
Oh.
Our 5th passage was from Red Sings from Treetops. Anyone ever look at this book? A few of us have? I like this one. It's all about the different colors. Okay, so I'm thinking there might be 1 or 2 examples. What did we find? Danny, did you find any for passage 5? What was it? The ocean's voice was loud? I'm not seeing that.
He's at 6.
Oh, so you're looking at passage 6. We are doing passage 5. Gannon. What was it? Who was dancing in water? You know? Because if it was a person, we could say a person was dancing. Ariel?
Dancing on the water with yellow.
Okay, that's what we just said though. But I want to know who is or what is dancing. Because if you're just saying dancing, that's something that a person can do. What is doing that? Jamie? Blue. I know it sounds weird. Blue's a color, but that's an example of personification. Blue is dancing on the water. You have to be careful when you're talking about them and when you're pointing them out that you need to find what is being talked about, what is being personified, okay? Passage 6 was from the Forsytes again. This one's called My First Beach Day. Who remembers this passage? More people remember this one. Okay, so we had circled the first 2 paragraphs. What examples did we find? Should see more hands, and we need more hands because we all did this. Michael.
But
Passage 6.
it was whispered soft and loud.
Whispered soft and loud. Who?
The ocean.
The ocean. It's talking about the ocean whispers. We find another one. Darsh. you have another one written down?
No.
Who had another good example written down? Eden.
The ocean's voice is so loud.
Okay, it's another one about the ocean. Ocean's voice is loud. Okay, so we got through all of them. What I wanted you to realize, which you wouldn't have known right away because you just had them on a piece of paper, but by showing you the different books as we went through, I wanted you to realize that personification is in a lot of different books. It's in passages that we'll see on the foresights and the PSSAs. It's in poetry. It's in riddles and rhymes. So we're going to see personification a lot. So I think that was good practice for us to be able to pick personification out of a bigger story. Since we probably won't get to it today, we'll probably just do it for center work, but I still want to show it to you so you know what we're doing. So what we're going to be doing for center work as part of it, the directions are to underline the idea, object, or animal being personified, and then to circle what they're doing that makes an example of personification. So what is being personified in the first example? Danny. What's being personified in example 1? The sun danced across the sky on the hot summer day. The sun? Okay, I agree. And what would we circle? What is the sun doing that makes that an example? Liam?
Dance across the sky.
Danced across the sky. Good. So do y'all understand what we'll do for this worksheet?
Yes.
Then I just want to show you quick that on the back, on the bottom, it says, come up with 2 of your own sentences that include personification of an object, idea, or animal. So this time, we're just going to be really writing about whatever you want. You could talk about trees. You could talk about a cabinet. You could talk about really any object that's not a person or a human and write something in order to make the sentence personified. Everyone understand? Yes? Okay, well, we're going to start guided reading. I'll put your can-dos and your must-dos